guys. I'm Nina.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ethan.
And we are Bloody Essentials. Just a few quick announcements. We have some upcoming appearances. We will be at Flashback Weekend Chicago, August 2nd through the 4th, and Ohio TerrorCon, August 16th and 17th. Shout out to Whole Damn Enchilada Podcast for inviting us out there. That's a brand new con, so we're very excited to be joining them. And I'm going to let Ethan talk a little bit more about our trivia event coming up.
All right, guys, I've told you before, we're doing trivia. It's going to be probably the first or second week in October, the beginning of spooky season. We're going to open it up to our Patreons first. Then after we get our Patreons, we're going to open it up to everybody else. What we're going to do is whoever wants to do it, put your name in. We're going to pick the names out of a hat on air, so it's fair for everybody. Mm-hmm. Not only do we have horror questions, we have questions about us that we've talked about our lives and stuff on air. So got to know a little bit about your hosts as well. There's a first and a second prize. First prize is a gift box or basket, whatever you want to call it, value between $75 and $100. And the second prize is between $50 and $75. And of course, you're going to get some great merch to represent Bloody Essentials. So we're very excited. We've started putting the baskets together. We hope you're as excited as we are.
And if you want to be part of that, whether you're a Patreon or not, please shoot us a message, whether that's on Facebook, Instagram, or our email. Let us know you're interested. And that way we can put you in the list, the growing list that we have, so we can pick our 5 contestants. Again, Patreon gets first priority, but you can still be part of it even if you're not a Patreon. So that's enough with the announcements. Let's get into what we're doing this week. We are celebrating 4th of July a little bit early with a bit of a cliche, but it's a fun cliche. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yay! Yes. I love this movie, you guys. I love this movie. Get prepared to hear the ballad of Helen Shivers, because she's one of my favorite characters of all time, and I'm so excited.
It's a great name. It really is. Helen Shivers.
Yes.
I love her.
Jamie, will you show off your shirt for us a little bit, since you're the only one of us that has I Know What You Did Last Summer gear?
Check that out. We got the crew here, and they're all in this kind of like Mortal Kombat kind of stance. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to Clark Makes Art.
Woo woo.
Yes.
This was a really fun series he did. He did other franchises too, so definitely check it out, guys. It is super fun.
Absolutely. Clark is a great guy, incredibly talented artist, and we will put the link to his Instagram account in the description so you can check out more of his work. When did everybody see this movie first? I have to ask, because it's fairly recent, 97. You know, it's been a little bit, but still kind of recent.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was a teenager at the time, so I didn't see it right when it came out, but this movie features a cast that I treasure, you know? There's a lot of faces in this movie where I'm like, love him, love her, love him, love her. So they were like the names of the time. They were definitely people I
absolutely
looked at in magazines.
Buffy. Come on.
Yeah, it was a great cast. I seen it in 97. Yeah, I seen it in 97 when it came out. So
you see it in theaters?
I did. Yeah,
awesome.
I seen it.
You were old enough then for this one.
I was old enough for this one. Yes. Yes.
I
think when this came out, I was 19.
Okay.
So. I was 3. So I did not see it right away.
Shut up, Nina.
It took me a little bit. I actually saw Scary Movie first before I saw this.
Okay.
Which I think altered my perception of this movie a little bit, and we'll get into that towards the end of the episode. Okay. So, yeah. All right, let's jump on in with plot points. So right away, we've got a great opening with these credits. You know, we are going over the ocean and along the cliffside, and any movie that opens with that, I absolutely adore that so much.
Yeah.
I like it too.
And a killer soundtrack.
Yeah, I liked it too. I will say this movie has so many like covers, like weird kind of covers. So it starts with the cover of Summer Breeze, like a kind of like darker version of Summer Breeze, while we're seeing the water and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of early 90s, or not early 90s, like late 90s, early 2000s kind of rock bands that are doing these covers too. Like they're well known now, like Motionless in White and stuff like that. But like back then they were not so much.
Yeah. It's a great soundtrack.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 4th of July weekend. We've got our group of friends hanging out after their local pageant that Helen wins. Right?
And I have to say, like, obsessed with Helen. So can I just take a minute to obsess over her for just a second? I won't take too long. I will pepper it out, okay?
Okay.
So first of all, I love her whole pageant thing. First of all, her suit is awesome. It's got these cute little cutouts in it. It's adorable.
Yeah.
I love her answer where she's like, with my art, I will serve my country. And I'm like, yes.
Oh my gosh. She would not have won for that answer in real life.
I know, but I loved it. So yeah, Helen is amazing. And she's like fashion icon. I love every outfit she wears in this movie. I'll just put it out there right now. Anyway, go on.
Overall, Sarah Michelle gellar was always a fashion icon, even in Buffy. Like, love her so much. She is one of the few things. She's one of the few things about this movie that I like. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
Okay.
We'll get there. So, shout out really quick to a supporting actor that I adore so much, Max. He's not a well-known actor during this time, but he got a big bang in another show that I adore. So Max, he's over there flirting with Jennifer Love Hewitt, Julie.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it again. Say it again. Yes.
What's your nickname for her, Ethan? Can we say it on air?
I think we can say it.
Okay. She's affectionately known as Jennifer Love Huge Tits.
Yes. Yes, she is.
Yes.
I will say I think she is so gorgeous for different reasons. But I loved her in Ghost Whisperer and every other thing I've seen her in, like The Client List. Like, she's great.
Yes, she's great.
I just saw a news segment with her like a couple days ago, and
you were telling me about that.
Yeah, she was talking about like the possibility of some kind of I Know What You Did Last Summer continuing thing, and talks about her being in it, and she still looked amazing. And her talking about her experience and like kind of her thoughts on the character was really sweet. She was like, I said when I was 18 that I was not going to play Julie dead, and if I did her again, I would not play her dead now. So she's not dying ever.
Yeah,
good for her.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love that.
She's currently in 911.
Oh.
The TV show 911.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Do either of you guys watch it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's a great show. You need to watch it.
Okay. I love her, so.
Yeah, it's a great show. I love her.
So Max is flirting with Julie, and he knows that she's dating Ray, doesn't care, is flirting with her ceaselessly, and asks her if she wants to go out one more time before she leaves for college just to hang out.
Right.
And obviously Barry, the other friend, he doesn't like that so much, and he gets in Max's face a little bit. Yeah. So Helen suggests that they all go on down to Dawson's Beach and cool off a little bit, basically. Not such a great idea since they've all clearly been drinking already, but
yeah.
Sure. So the group is at the beach. They are going back and forth telling the different versions of this local urban legend about the fisherman / escaped mental patient with a hook for a hand.
Which is so fun because, urban legends.
Yeah.
You guys did urban legends.
We were just doing urban legend, and one of the things they mentioned was the boy and the girl in the car, and he's hanging over the car and everything. I was like, that's a fun callback.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, okay, that's awesome. This has been like in our world lately.
Right. Exactly. So that was a lot of fun. And then, they go off to do their sex on the beach escapades, and then they meet back later. And after an evening of premarital sex and more drinking, they decide to head home.
Right.
Sounds like
What
a
could
good
go
plan.
wrong? What could go wrong? Like at this time of night, it's probably like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Maybe just stay on the beach for a little bit.
And I from what I gathered, it was Jennifer Love Hewitt's character and Freddie Prinze Jr.'s character. I think that was their first time, because he's like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yes." So
Yeah, it could have been.
I think that was their
Probably,
first time.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't, I'm going to say it was. So that's what I got
there
out of
we
it.
go.
So
And what should we learn from this situation? Maybe don't have sex before you guys are about to leave for 2 separate colleges in 2 different states. Just saying.
Or what I got was, if you get the opportunity to have sex with Jennifer Love Hewitt, just do it. It doesn't matter if you die next.
I was going to say, take this opportunity now. Now.
Get out of here. All right. So Ray decides to drive because Barry is way too wasted.
Yeah.
And he still makes an idiot out of himself because he's standing up in the car, standing up through the sunroof, and he drops his bottle of booze all over the car and it spills all over everybody. But that's not the worst thing that happens. They hit a poor pedestrian on the side of a road.
Right.
And I love they look at Barry and they're like, "You're bleeding," and he's like, "It's not mine." And you're like, "Oh, because that's the person that you hit."
Right.
Exactly.
They're like, "I think I hit a dog." No, wasn't a dog.
Wasn't a dog.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. They don't know who it is because his face is so messed up and bloody that they can't make out who it is.
Right.
And I like when Jennifer Love Hewitt finds the boot, because they're like, "Oh, it was a dog probably." And then she kind of walks a little bit and she holds the boot and there's blood on it. And it's like, "Ah!" And everybody's like freaking out, trying to figure out what to do.
And all I see when I watch this movie is Scary Movie. There's a boot.
Yeah.
Throws them in the trunk, hits him on the head, even though he's like, I'm fine, I'm alive. And he hits him on the trunk, passes out. Like, that's all I see. That's all I see, guys. The guys, they pretty much agree. They just want to cover this up. They don't, this is going to be nothing but trouble, because Ray was driving. The car smells of alcohol. Barry's drunk. It's his car. They're going to think Barry was driving no matter what they say. And so they basically, everybody but Jennifer Love Hewitt wants to cover it up, ultimately.
That's right.
Yep. At first, Ray was kind of on the fence, but he joins team. Let's cover it up once they talk it out a little bit longer. Right. And he's like,
same with Helen. Yeah. She's like, it's our future. Yeah. Yep.
Ray's like, listen, I don't have the money like you guys. I can't fight it.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's got a point. Yeah. And they have to think fast because Max is driving up the road. And so I love how they drag the body over to the guardrail and Barry pretends that he's puking his out. Yeah. While Julie distracts him with her huge tits.
Hey, it tracks. It tracks. That's a good distraction. Both things. I'd be like, okay, I buy it. Who's throwing up? Here.
Right. So
it's a good distraction.
Yeah.
Seriously. There could be like 7 dead bodies and I'd be like, hey, how you doing? She could literally be stabbing somebody to death and I'd be like,
hey,
want to go for coffee?
I don't think you're that infatuated.
Okay, maybe if she was stabbing them at that time, no. But had she just stabbed them, it's up. I'm fine.
Anyways, so they decide to dump the body in the ocean after they get rid of Max. And right before they do, the victim wakes up for a jump scare, of course, and then grabs Helen's pageant crown and carries it off with him into the ocean. And then Barry goes to get it.
Yes.
And I have to say, one of my holy grail prop kind of things that I want that tiara so freaking bad.
It's really pretty.
It's so beautiful. Yes. I tried to find information on it. who made it? Like, did they just like buy cool things and make it themselves? Where do I get one? And I haven't really found a lot of info on it. So, folks, if you know anything about Helen's tiara, I want it.
That's the prop she would like.
That's a really pretty
I
crown.
want it.
I like it had purple and green
Yes.
colored sequins on it too. It was really gorgeous.
And seahorses and
Yeah.
it's just
Definitely
amazing.
went with the theme of like ocean town,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
And I love what Barry says here. Chalk it up to a future therapy bill. We all agree we're making a pact. We're not going to discuss this ever again, no matter what.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that line so much, future therapy bill, because
I
yes.
know. Yeah, it will be.
So they
If
all
you guys
agree.
make it.
Yeah, if you make it, we'll get to that. But yes, we will never talk about this again. Everybody agrees. Julie somewhat hesitantly, but they all agree.
And
After Barry puts his hands on her throat, she's like, "Okay, Barry."
I was just about to say that. You know, she doesn't agree, so he grabs her, by the throat. And I'm like, Ray, this is your old lady here. Now, whether he can kick your ass or not, you need to hit him. I mean, you don't let anybody manhandle your girl.
I know.
But, well, whatever. See,
I think that's leading to some stuff that later happens, because they end up breaking up for a little bit. Yeah.
That's why she needs to not be with Ray.
Yeah.
Be with me. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I wasn't in this movie. And I'm married, so.
She's out of the question. You can look, but don't touch. All right.
Yes.
Can
we please tag her in this video?
Yes, I think we should.
Yes. She never does cons or anything, and I really want to meet her.
I know. Maybe this will change things.
I don't think she'll want to meet you after that. Anyways, so it's 1 year later, and we see Julie is heading home for the summer. She's very different than the girl we initially saw at the beginning of this movie, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We find out she's not doing well in school at all. And once she's back home at her mom tells her that she got a letter the other day. There's no postmark, no return address, not even a stamp. So they clearly knew exactly where she lived and delivered it personally, right? And all the note says is, "I know what you did last summer." Already a title drop.
Yep.
Ooh. And it's like, okay, guys, so if you got that note today, what would it be that they were talking about? What would somebody know you did last summer? Did you guys run anybody over?
No.
I don't think so.
I'm like, I don't actually know what my thing I would have done last summer was, other than a con, maybe.
That's about all I did last summer is horror cons and, laid out on the beach. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
last summer was pretty uneventful. So
that's not true. I met you.
Well, I mean, there were good things last summer, of course.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like we didn't kill anybody.
Oh yeah.
No.
Well, there's always next year, right?
We'll leave it for this summer. So.
There's still time.
Summer's just beginning.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jamie gets down to Chicago. We need to make a pact.
Yes.
So Julie decides after receiving this note that she's got to talk to the other members of the group. And so, of course, the first person she goes to is Helen, former best friend, right? And we find out that Helen, her plans didn't quite go as she had hoped either. She apparently went to New York and, it wasn't quite what she expected. So she came back and is now working at her family's business.
Right.
Oh, and okay. Again,
that is heartbreaking to see.
I know, and like Helen, I think she's a character that draws a lot of empathy because of some of the things she experiences. So this is one where it's like, this dream that she had, it didn't work out, and now she's like working at her parents' store, and she kind of hates it because her sister's
her sister's a bitch.
Yes.
Elsa is, cold as ice.
Yeah.
I know. Poor Helen. Poor Helen. And she looks amazing in that little outfit. It's so good. The outfit she's wearing at Shivers. So good.
Helen looks amazing in everything she wears in this
I know.
movie. Like,
That
I
she
want her
is.
entire wardrobe.
I really want her wardrobe. Wear everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
I digress.
So we've also find out that Helen and Barry broke up. So it's like one thing on top of another, you know.
Yeah.
And so they end up going to see Barry and everything, and Barry is, as you would expect, the same as always.
Belligerent.
Very belligerent, egotistical, yeah,
Mhm.
self-obsessed, you know, every word you could possibly think of, just not a good guy.
Yeah.
But it turns out Julie did a little bit of research on missing people or murders that happened, accidental deaths, I guess, that happened around the time that their accident happened. She reveals that she thinks she knows the identity of the man they killed, and supposedly it's David Egan. He was found 3 weeks after the incident that they had. The body was caught in a shrimp trap, and it was declared an accidental drowning. So, kind of all the boxes check. Barry suspects that Max might be behind the letter because he did see them that night. He may not have seen everything, but he suspects Max right away. And understandably, I would have suspected Max right away.
I know a
Yeah.
couple things he's seen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Max was there, and I kind of love how this movie like turns everybody into a red herring for a little bit at some
Yes.
point, because Elsa is her name, I think, the sister.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
She is kind of like made a red herring right away when like
Yeah.
Julie comes to talk to her, because she's like listening to them like, ooh, I'm being all sus and I'm listening to what they have to say. And then
Yeah.
they have, you know, Max, and it's like, ooh, maybe he was there. Who else could it have been? So it's like
There's
red
there's
herring.
4 red herrings in this movie. It's
Mhm.
Elsa, Max, Ray, and David Egan's sister.
Yep.
4. And it's just as obnoxious every single fucking time. I'm sorry.
I love it.
Okay. So Barry decides to pay a trip to Max, and he threatens him, kind of, again, beats him up a little bit. Like,
Yep.
threatens him with the hook, right?
Yeah.
Scary. I don't like Barry.
Yeah. Yeah. Barry's not a nice man.
Barry is scary.
He's
Yeah.
not a nice man. Yeah.
No.
And meanwhile, Julie goes off to see Ray, who we learn didn't end up going to school, right? Didn't even
Right.
go.
Yep.
And he's working as a local fisherman, like his dad, he says. And Julie kind of catches Ray up on what's been going on with the notes and stuff. Flashback to Max, who is our first kill of the movie.
Yes.
And he gets this beautiful kill with the hook going right through his chin and up.
Loved it.
Really fun.
Yeah.
I love like the build up to that too, because like there's a point where the camera is behind Max and it kind of like
Mhm.
comes in, like starts to zoom into him. So you get tricked into thinking that somebody's behind him.
Yeah.
And then you get that great, he looks up and there's someone in front of him and the kill comes from in front of him. And it's
I
like,
prefer those types of kills where
Woo!
they're in front of you. Yeah.
yeah.
You don't see that very often. Yeah.
No.
And I also really like the blue lighting in his death scene.
Mhm.
Like lots of blue lighting, very pretty. It's not that hard to light night scenes. I don't know why some people struggle with that, but this movie, they do a really good job.
Yeah.
Oh, that is my pet peeve, guys.
Yes,
Like,
I know.
It is really common for movies to be like underexposed these days,
Yeah.
and like you can't see anything that's happening. And I'm like, I just want to see. I have to go back just a tiny bit too, like because there's
Yeah.
a really funny moment when Ray and Julie are talking, and then Julie runs away, but she's in like overalls, and I don't know why it makes me laugh every time. It's like when Sydney runs away and Scream, you know,
Yeah.
she's not in overalls, but I just like how Julie like
It's a cute
kind of like
moment. Yeah.
runs away in her overalls, and I'm like, been there. We've all had to run away in overalls from an awkward situation.
Didn't she have like pigtails too or something? Like pigtail
I feel
braids
like
or
she
something?
did. Yeah, it'd be appropriate.
She's so young in this movie. Such a
I know.
baby.
She's
Yes.
like 18, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they all were pretty young.
Yeah, they were all young.
Yeah.
Barry is he's showering and stuff, and he goes to his locker and he finds a Polaroid photo, and it's of the car parked at the docks that night, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the killer is there, and he basically steals Barry's car, but he's not leaving. He goes to run Barry over.
Yeah.
And Barry ends up going through a fisherman's shack, and we see him begging for his life. We think he's done, but then we see him in the hospital later with a broken arm.
And I have to say, I really like that shot. It's like a low shot up to the fisherman.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really sinister looking.
Yes.
Like I actually really like the fisherman as a slasher. I would love to meet Muse, the guy who plays him, because I think he's awesome. But anyway, I loved that, and I kind of liked seeing like Barry, like, you know, having to like beg for his life a little bit.
Yeah.
I will admit that was kind of satisfying.
Yes, I agree.
I would have liked it more if he had just died then.
Wow.
Yeah. You gotta have the torture, you know. You gotta like play with these guys.
Right.
It makes no sense for him to leave him alive. It makes no sense. I understand torturing Julie a little bit.
Yeah.
And the others, like, if you're gonna do that, he could have just left the photo and been done with it. But instead, he's going to like almost kill him, and then like, just kidding.
It's to mess with his mind.
Yeah.
If he was messing with his mind, he could have just left the photo.
It wasn't enough of a mess.
That's right.
Listen, this isn't the mafia. This is a killer. He's trying to get revenge. That's all I'm saying.
But what's better revenge? Killing them right away, or psychologically screwing with them over the entire summer and then killing them?
It doesn't take that much effort to psychologically screw with somebody. You've already got the note that Julie told them about. You leave the photo that was taken a year ago, and then just slowly do little freaking things like that. Chopping somebody's hair off later. You don't need to steal their car, run them over, and then like get this close to their face and then just break their arm. Come on.
Hey, he was having some showmanship, you know. He was all right, what can I do here to this guy? You know,
right?
Steal. It wasn't enough to leave the photo.
He was like, go tell these other three bitches what I'm capable of. So.
All right. Anyways, everybody gets together in the hospital, and Julie and Ray, they just want to go to the police. They think that that's the best solution. Barry says they just need to find the person that's doing all this, that's behind the threats. And so they go along with what Barry says because it's gotten them so well so far.
Yeah. Can I just say, too, they were arguing so loud in the middle of the hospital lobby.
Yes.
I was going to say that, too. Like, a nurse would have definitely come in to be like, you need to leave because you're upsetting the patient. Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys need to keep it down just a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
Or we're going to have to ask you to leave.
Is there no one in this hospital?
This is not Halloween 2. They actually have a staff. So.
I mean, how many times do you see people walking past the room and they don't say anything?
Right.
I know. Yeah. And it's like, somebody stop these folks. Like, people are trying to rest.
Yeah. So they all agree they're going to find out more info on David Egan's family and friends. And apparently Julie's the only one that does research.
The internet.
The internet. Yes. Internet search.
I love it. I love when the internet in the 90s and like these movies.
And her giant computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun. So Julie learns that 2 years ago, David's fiance, Susie, died in a car accident on July 5th. And David was supposedly the driver, and he survived, and they were driving near Dawson's Beach. So things are starting to add up.
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
So Julie and Helen, they find out David has a sister named Missy, and they go off to see her. All right, couple of things I'm going to throw at you. All right. First off, I know it's a neighboring town, but they're small towns.
Right.
How did they not know each other? Why are they using aliases? They would know
Right.
each other. Come on.
I will have to give it to you on that one because I grew up in a small town. I grew up just outside of Tucson a little bit, and we do know everybody, and we do know people from the next, little community
Exactly.
over. And even, especially, like, there's plenty of people that you just knew through, oh, you're so and so's older brother, or you're so and so's younger sister.
Yeah.
And they went to the same high school.
And she won the damn pageant. So, she was all over,
everything. Yeah.
Their newspapers and stuff.
Yeah.
So Missy tells them that a boy named Billy Blue came to see her after David's body was found.
Billy Blue.
Billy Blue. And he claimed to be a classmate of David's. So automatically they assumed that it could have been the killer.
Can I just say, it's hilarious too. These girls just show up at this person's house, and when nobody answers the door, like,
they just go in.
She just straight up is going to come in through the window. And then, like, Missy comes around, she's like, can I help you?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
I like when she's like, are we going to, like, put breaking and entering into our roster of crimes now?
Yeah, I know.
So
that's a minimal offense compared to what you've already done.
Right?
Obstructing a crime scene.
House, it doesn't matter.
We should stop criming, though, guys. We should really stop doing crime.
Right. Yeah, so they find out that Billy Blue came to visit her. So they are assuming that Billy Blue is the one that's been sending them the notes and everything. So they decided to go check out yearbooks for Billy Blue. And this is the part that kills me, guys.
Uh-huh.
Well, one of them. So they check out the yearbook. Obviously, Billy Blue is not in the yearbook because it's not a real name.
Right.
And they're like, let's bring the yearbook back to Missy's house and maybe she can point him out for us. Or we could ask the guy in the room with us about Billy Blue. Maybe. Has anybody heard of Billy Blue? Because it's a neighboring town, small town. Anybody? Going once, going twice? No? Nothing?
No.
This is your chance to be like, hey, guys, I'm Billy Blue.
Right.
Instead of letting her go down a wrong turn here, maybe.
Yeah. He should have said something earlier, but he's kind of bumbling. So he was like, I'm not going to say anything yet because it look weird. So I'm not going to say it because that'll come off weird. And then people will think I did it or something. So I'm just going to keep quiet about it for a while. He's bumbling.
I'm going to come back to that. All right. So after all of that, Helen goes home. It's been a long day for Helen. It's going to be an even longer night. We see the fisherman sneaks in and he's hiding in her bedroom. And we kind of get an idea of Helen's family life. She's trying to talk to her dad. Dad doesn't even acknowledge that she's there.
No.
Her sister is just being an outright bitch.
Yep.
And basically bullying her worse than I've ever seen any sibling bully somebody. And meanwhile, the fisherman's in her closet. Just somehow got up there. No one noticed. It's fine. He stays in there while Helen goes to sleep. And the next morning, this is one of the few things I do like about this movie. We kind of get a Godfather-esque shot. Right? Slow zoom of her laying on her bed. And it's kind of got the ominous music. And we see she's got the crown, the pageant crown on her head.
Yeah, she does.
And she sits up in bed and she starts touching her hair and her hair is falling out in clumps.
Yeah.
And on the mirror in red lipstick, it just says soon. Great scene.
Yeah.
Great scene.
She like screams in the mirror and she like punches the mirror and it like, it's so good. Sarah Michelle Gellar is the best. So that's why that scene is so awesome. And how scary to have your hair cut off. And there was like that great foreshadowing when her sister is like, all you care about is your hair.
This is a really cool moment. So obviously Helen is very upset, as any girl would be, because hair is a big part of any girl's identity. Whether you carry it long, short, whatever, it's a big part of any girl's identity. And so obviously Helen calls her friends that she can actually talk to about this, Barry and Julie. She doesn't call Ray for whatever reason. He's probably working or busy doing other things, right? Yeah.
Right.
So Julie's on her way over, and on the way over, she's starting to hear some weird sounds in her trunk. Not sure what that is, but it doesn't sound quite right, you know? And so she pulls over, and as anybody would be, this made me anxious just thinking about like the possibilities, even though I knew what was going to happen. So good job there. Because you hear this like kind of, I don't even know what sound it is, but she hesitantly opens the trunk, and boom, we've got Max's body covered in crabs and other shellfish.
Mm-hmm.
And he's wearing Barry's jacket. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got crabs. And it wasn't from Julie.
Julie is clean. She's a good girl.
She's a good girl, yes.
She's a good girl.
If she doesn't want to come on this show by now after this, I'm like, come on.
I know.
She's either going to come on the show or I'm going to be on the opposite end of a restraining order. One or the other, so.
Either way, it's kind of exciting.
Right. Either way, I'm okay with it.
You can hang it up in your little
frame it.
Serial killer scrapbook. It's a bit now. Accept it.
Right.
All right. So Julie's close enough. She can just run over to Helen's house, and she does, obviously. I wouldn't want to be in that car any more than I had to have. I would have maybe closed the trunk, though. Maybe.
And called the door. Oh, well, maybe she didn't have a cell phone.
No cell phone.
Yeah,
but
no,
yes.
I'd have closed the trunk, got back in, and drove. I'm like, he's already dead and I'm fat. I ain't doing all that. So I'm going to drive there.
She's not.
Oh, no,
she
she's
can
not.
run.
It's not even for crabs. That's no place for a crab colony.
I'm sorry. I probably would have went to the neighbor's house and asked for the phone and called the cops then.
Right.
I would have called the cops because it is not normal to find a body and crabs inside of your car. Crabs are creepy.
Yeah.
But you're okay with the dead body, but the crabs are creepy. She's like, I don't care if there's a dead body in the trunk.
Hear me out. If it was just a dead body, I'll just stroll over to my friend's house and be like, dude, check it out. But the crabs, that steps it up a notch.
Absolutely.
It's where I draw the line.
Well, you know, whoever did it had to have had a trap for crabs. So that automatically is a fisherman. So narrows your suspect down dramatically.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I mean, he's probably got some muscles because that's a lot of crabs. That's a lot of crabs.
A lot of crabs.
No.
And leading to our next thing. So she runs to Helen's house and gets Helen and Barry, and they run back to the car. And the body, the crabs, it's all gone. It looks like nothing was even there. Yeah. That's impressive.
Very impressive.
I told you, this guy's got muscles. This guy's good.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fun. All right. We find out that Ray got a letter as well. So Helen and Barry, they decide they have to go to the parade in case the fisherman shows up. And at this point, Julie yearbook to Missy and have her point out who Billy Blue is. Where's Ray going?
He's got bumbling things to do, I suppose.
He
doesn't want to go with Julie in case Missy might be the killer? No?
No.
Or maybe he could tell who Billy Blue is. Oh my God, guys.
I'm telling you, he's like, well, I can't go with her because then I'd have to face the girl that thinks I'm Billy Blue, and then everybody would find out that I'm Billy Blue.
We could just tell her that he's Billy Blue, save a trip, skip that adventure, and we could all go to the pageant and protect Helen. Maybe that's a better idea. No, split up. Fine.
Yeah,
we got to get one more red herring in there.
This movie's full of bad decisions, so
it is.
Writing is what it's full of. All right,
knock it off.
Julie is over at Missy's place, and I love how different the house looks the second trip. It's like Missy can finally be herself a little bit. all Texas Chainsaw Massacre like with the animal furs and stuff just everywhere, and the bloody knife, and she clearly is she's just so different. Great actress. Rest in peace. She died recently, like last year, I think. So that was very sad.
Yeah, I know. Apparently she described like her time on set as like, you know, it's a couple days of like I was supposed to act scary.
She did a good job.
She did.
Yes. Like I diss on this movie a lot, but that doesn't mean it's badly executed, badly acted. Like there's a lot of money that went into this and it does look great. I just have issues with the plot. That's my main issue.
Yeah.
Right.
It's still entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
It's so entertaining.
Yeah. And at this point, after talking to Missy, she realizes that they didn't hit David Egan because David Egan didn't have a tattoo of Susie's name on his arm. All right. So we go over to the pageant. If I'm leaving anything out that you guys want to insert, go ahead. I'm skipping through some things. But Barry is looking on from the balcony while Helen's on the stage.
Right.
Not sure how he's going to protect her when he's all the way up in the balcony, but
he's keeping an eye on things.
That's right. He wants to watch the whole.
He's missing the big show, which is behind him.
Right.
So, the fisherman is easily able to kill Barry because he's in the balcony isolated. Meanwhile, Helen watches on and is like, look, he's being killed. Oh no, somebody help him. There's nobody up there. They have no idea why she's screaming because he's all the way up in the balcony isolated. So when poor Helen is finally able to get help and they finally believe her and are listening to her, it's too late. Because Barry's body is gone.
I know. But this is a great Helen moment.
It is a great Helen moment. It's a very iconic moment in horror.
Yes.
It is.
Feel free to talk about the kill. Wait.
It's not my favorite kill for sure. It's not my favorite. But you know, you get that like blue light. She's like, look at it there.
Yes.
And she's like, Barry. She's like, somebody help him. And everyone's like, what is she talking about? So anyway, that's all I have to say.
She's definitely cementing her place as a scream queen in horror for sure. She's great.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. And again with the blue lighting, it is very gorgeous.
Oh yeah, it's like a theme throughout the whole movie. I noticed lots of like kind of blue tones.
It makes sense because it's it's an oceanside town, small town, so you'd expect a lot of blue. Yeah, the cop isn't a good cop because it's a horror movie, and he doesn't find the little bit of blood that there is after this massacre.
Right.
So he's just like, let's just take you home, right? So he's taking Helen home, and Helen's tried to explain everything that's been going on, and he's like, you're being absurd. You're just crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. As he's progressing down the street while she's telling her story, they encounter one roadblock on the main street. So he decides to go down an alley. And we see this old truck with the fisherman. And it looks like he's working on the truck, but he is not. He is waiting.
Yes.
And the cop, as a concerned servant of the law, tries to get out and assist him, and that bites him in the butt because it is the fisherman, not a fisherman, the fisherman, and he kills the cop. Has no qualms about that.
But then we get into like my favorite chase scene ever.
This is the best part of the movie for sure.
Oh, it's like pretty much 9 minutes of like dynamic, exciting, perfect chase scene magic. Like I love chase scenes, and to me, this is seriously like just like one of my favorites ever.
Yes.
I will say, sorry, Ethan, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a great scene. So
yeah, it is. It definitely gives me Brian De Palma vibes because of the camera angles, like the overhead shots, and it's a lot of fun, and the music adds to the suspense as well. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite scenes. She's running from the alley to the store where her sister is, and her sister's being a raving bitch again, not believing her.
She's got a million keys. Oh,
million keys for that tiny little store.
Right.
And what a fun store this is, right? You've got the old-fashioned pole elevator thing. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so the sister ends up dying, right?
Yep.
In an attempt to save Helen, and basically locks them in with the killer.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's dead, and Helen, forgot her name for a second, Helen is just running for her life. She finally gets out of the store, and we see her running down several streets, and there's the parade, the 4th of July parade. It's right there, but just 10 feet too far. And that is the most sad, heartbreaking moment of the entire movie.
Yeah. Because, like, why I think that, okay, so she's like the perfect not so final girl, because like you watch her and you're like, oh, she should have been a final girl. Like, look how hard she fought. It's not like a particularly gory scene or anything, but it's shocking in the sense that, you know, you really like were rooting for her, and it feels just kind of like the sadness kind of hits you, because you're like, oh man, I went on this whole like 9-minute like chase with her. Like, I jumped out a window with her. Like, I had to escape all these things with her. And I mean, we didn't make it, you know, she didn't make it.
On top of it all, she's been through so much in the past year.
I know. We didn't even talk about like her heartbreaking moment when she tells Julie, I miss you. Like, I really miss our friendship. And Julie doesn't say a word.
She can't even look at her.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, how
and that's anybody who's lost their best friend due to, you know, an argument or life and death literally separating you two, like, it is the worst thing to experience. And it's hard, especially for young girls.
I know. And they went through something crazy together, and she doesn't have many people to talk to about it. Her ex is a jerk, and she's still kind of stuck on him. And it's like, Helen, you could do better, girl. But anyway,
she could do so much better. And that's the difference between Helen and Julie. Julie has some friends back at college. Helen does not have anybody. Not even her family. So, Helen's gone.
You know what? I like to think of 4th of July as Helen's Day, really. So that's how I think of 4th of July. It's Helen's Day, okay?
All right.
If that makes you feel better, that's good.
It does.
I think it's Julie's Day. Every day is Julie's Day.
I was going to say every day is Julie's Day for you. All right. So we find out that Ben is the name of Susie's dad, and we assume that he killed David Egan, and he is the one that's now after them. Ben, not David.
Yes.
And because Ben is the one that has the tattoo of Susie's name on his arm. However, Julie thinks that Ray might be the one threatening them and killing them, which is logical because he has not been anywhere to help them this entire movie.
Right.
He's just like, yeah, this is happening to me too, guys. Like, no notes. We have no note to see that he actually got one. Like, we just got to take him at his word.
But clearly he still loves Julie. And Julie's like, I want nothing to do with you. I'm done. We're not together. I've moved on. So he probably just doesn't want to be around her because it hurts.
Yeah. Plus, he did have a little dalliance with Missy that is briefly mentioned.
He did. It was his spiky hair. He had really spiky hair, and they just couldn't control themselves. It's so late 90s, like his hair.
Yes.
I mean, everybody's. We haven't talked. I just have to throw it out there. Like, Barry is so like
hair.
Yes. In the 90s, I had spiky hair like that. When I had hair.
You had hair?
I did have hair once. Yes. Once I did have hair. So
what?
Yep. And it was spiky like that.
I love it.
We're gonna need to dig up some pictures.
I can do that.
Yeah, so Julie thinks that Ray is the one that is after them and hurting her friends, and she runs away. And the first thing she does is gets on a stranger's boat. Conveniently enough, this boat belongs to Ben, Susie's dad.
Yeah. Just so
Darn.
happens.
Just so happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy how things work out that way sometimes.
Right.
Well, it's a small town. I'm sure he was stalking them. So Ben takes the boat out to sea, but Ray is following in a much smaller boat, and he gets on board.
Boat chase.
Yeah, fun boat chase. Ben and Ray are fighting, and Ben gets knocked overboard in a fight, but he's able to manage to get back on the boat by hanging onto some kind of netting, like fisherman's netting, right?
Yep.
Meanwhile, Julie is being chased by Ben, and she barricades herself in this little storage room where there's ice everywhere to keep the fish fresh. And her friends as well.
Yes.
That's how Max's body was able to stay so fresh several days later. And what a great reveal, right?
Oh, it's so good.
Awesome.
Painful, because there's Helen and there's Barry, but Helen
and Max too. Max is there as well.
Max, Helen.
Max is the unsung hero in this movie. Let's be real.
Max is pretty great. I mean, I admit that I don't even give him the shine that he deserves. He's not even on this shirt, and he should be.
Right.
Just over here somewhere. We've got our mains, we got Max,
Right.
He should be there.
And in an epic, quick, we couldn't think of anything to do kind of way, Ben gets caught in some ropes, and he loses his hand in a pulley system, because why not? And then his body just gets thrown overboard in the ocean, and we'll assume he's dead. That's how that works.
Okay, but for real, pulleys are scary, okay? Because they can move fast, and that would mess you up.
Yeah, and it did. We have to fulfill the prophecy, fulfill the urban legend. He is now ultimately the hookman fisherman. Yes.
Yes.
Is there a name that they give him eventually? Or am I just...
It's just the fisherman, isn't it?
I think it's just the fisherman.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Just hook-handed fisherman. Okay. So after all of this, Julie and Ray realized they never actually killed anyone, and all of this crap over the last year could have been avoided if they had, done the right thing. But
they didn't.
But they didn't, because they're stupid teenagers, and why would they? And then they realize that they never stopped loving each other, and they get back together, because that's how that works too.
Right.
And Ray finally comes clean. He was Billy Blue the whole time.
Yeah.
And he just needed to know about David Egan for his own peace of mind, basically, because he also put 2 and 2 together about David Egan.
Yep.
And flash forward, Julie's back at school. She's doing much better. Her grades are better. She's almost made the dean's list, apparently, so that's awesome for her. Woo woo. Julie receives another note. Who could it be? Oh, wait, it's a fake out.
That's just an invite to a pool party.
Welcome back, Bash. Will Julie make it to the, welcome back, Bash? Because she's heading towards the shower. And as much as Ethan would like to see what happens next,
yes,
the killer beats you to the punch, because in the steamy glass shower door, we see written, I still know.
Mm-hmm.
And one final jump scare, because it's the 90s, and why not? The fisherman crashes through the shower door and the credits roll.
Yes.
Bam.
So that is What You Did Last Summer, 1997.
Yes, it is.
Jamie, tell us some fun facts about this movie.
Oh, I got some. Okay. First of all, thought this was kind of fun. Kevin Williamson, who did the screenplay, he comes from a long line of fishermen. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
His whole family are like fishermen, and that's where he kind of got some inspiration for certain things. he said that hook was basically comes right from his like childhood memories, and so does the slicker. So I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonder if he had some childhood nightmares there.
I bet he did. did.
Yeah.
So apparently the iconic, what are you waiting for moment,
Yes.
that apparently was the product of a kid. They had some kind of contest apparently for somebody to make a moment in this movie, and a kid, I don't know how old, won it, and that's what he wanted her to do. And she basically was like, this is what I'm doing? Really? And she's like, okay. And she did it. And it ended up being one of the most iconic
moments. And
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of fun.
That's really fun.
Yeah. If some of it reminds you a little bit of Jaws, that was intentional. The director wasn't influenced by Jaws a little bit. I thought this was fun because obviously Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. have been married forever, and this is where they met each other. Yeah. But interestingly enough, Ray and Helen, the characters, even though they're in scenes together, they only speak to each other like twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of fun. Okay.
Yeah.
The ice inside of the boat when Jennifer Love Hewitt is like swimming, like pushing all that ice around, it was made out of gelatin.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Probably better for her that it was, because that was a lot of ice.
Definitely. And now
I'm sorry, I'm just thinking.
You're just thinking about, man, I wish that ice could have melted.
Jennifer Love Hewitt in a vat of Jello. And that makes me happy.
Yeah. Speaking
I apologize if Jennifer Love Hewitt ever watches this. I'm so sorry on behalf of Ethan.
We're sorry. No. Okay. So apparently Reese Witherspoon auditioned for this, but changed her mind and withdrew. She did, however, recommend her then boyfriend, Ryan Phillippe, for the role of Barry.
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Interesting.
Let's see.
Reese Witherspoon. Love her too.
I love her as well. She's just a cute little, like, she's so little, and she's adorable.
Yes.
She seems
for
like
different reasons than Ethan likes her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she definitely seems like a girl's girl.
Oh yeah. Okay, I thought this was cute. So Muse Watson, he plays our fisherman, and he just seems like the coolest guy. He just talked about how wonderful it was, like working with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt. And I thought it was really cute because he said that, with Sarah Michelle Gellar, the two of them would go for long walks down the beach together. I was kind of like her new uncle. We walked and talked. It was great. So they just had like a really sweet bond, and I thought that was nice.
Quick question, and I may be a complete idiot, but I don't know that much about this movie. The guy that plays a fisherman, is that the same guy that plays Ben, or did they do what they usually do and just separate them?
Actually, that's a good question. I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Let us know if you guys know, because I didn't look into that. I should have.
Yeah, I didn't think of that either. Okay, Danielle Harris was considered for the role of Julie. The film originally had a different ending where Julie was chatting with Ray online, gets the party invite, and then another person starts a chat with her typing in "I still know."
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I do too. And then the last thing, again, just because I think Muse Watson is really cool. I don't know what else he's really been in. I'll have to look that up. This was just him talking about how he kind of got into character for this. He said, I put so much study into every move I made. When you see that fast walk, I practiced that. I practiced the hook. I worked my tail off on this character. One night, I'm conjuring the character, and I got the idea that he was laughing at me. Immediately, I said, what you laughing at? And you're trying to work yourself up to the point where you can kill somebody. I made one of the best acting decisions I ever made in my life then. Instead of me becoming a psycho, why didn't I just walk out there and do nothing? Because I'd be reflecting this guy's feelings that killing somebody didn't mean nothing. Anyway, I just thought that Muse Watson seemed like a really cool guy. I liked, he also said that in that scene with Helen's big chase, the moment where he was under the mannequin thing and jumps at her, He said that every time they shot that, him and Sarah Michelle Gellar would crack up at the end because they were so excited about how many people were going to jump.
That's cute.
Well, that's
I like
very
that.
cool.
And I thought that was really cute. So
That is really cute. Awesome. Let's get into rating this movie. Jamie, we'll have you start.
Okay, now if all of you haven't figured this out by now, guys, I give out 10s, okay? Because when I love movies, I love them. And is this movie like a 10 by like general standards? No. But for me, this movie is a 10. I love it. I loved it since the first time I watched it. It makes me so happy. It's my favorite 4th of July movie. I love the cast. Like Helen Shivers is one of my favorite characters ever. I just think she's the perfect like not so final girl, and there was something about her, like even as a teenager watching this, something about her I just like admired and looked up to. I liked that she was dynamic, you know, she was beautiful, but she was also kind of sweet and real. I empathized with her, so this one goes to Helen Shivers, man. But 10 for Helen.
I will say she is one of the few almost final girls that has way more depth to her than we ever usually get. So
yeah,
yep, she's great.
That's a definite.
Ethan.
Okay, well, if you can't figure it out, I also love this movie. You know, it takes me back, you know, when I was, well, not quite as old as I am, but, you know.
You had hair.
When I had hair, exactly. No, it takes me back. I really like the movie. It's got a great cast, other than Jennifer Love Hewitt, who could just stand there for 2 hours and I would watch her. Because the girl is fine, but great 90s cast. Great soundtrack. I really think it's a lot of fun. It's a very fun movie. Yeah, it's got its plot holes, but I mean, what the hell? It's a horror movie. I mean, what horror movies don't have plot holes? I mean, but I definitely would recommend it. I would give it a solid 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
I will not be giving it a 9 or a 10. I like the cast. I love everybody in this movie, from the top people, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Jennifer Love Hewitt. Love them all the way down to the supporting people. Love every single person in this movie. Great cast, great soundtrack. It's properly lit, properly directed, all of that fun stuff, except the writing fails for me. Is it a bad movie? No, it's just not my thing, and that's okay. Will I ever watch it again? Not unless you freaking force me. So with that being said, it's a 4. Please don't make me watch it again.
Okay. I will watch it twice. Once for you and once for me.
Now.
That's good. Yeah. Listen, there's not a lot of horror movies I don't like, and I wish the kills were more imaginative. They're kind of repetitive after a while because it's the same thing over and over again with the hook. I just want more creativity from my kills. That's it. And a little bit better writing. Not so much the plot holes. I wouldn't have minded the plot holes. It's just so soap opera-y for me. It's very CW to me, and I just don't like that. It's like knockoff Scream, and not in a fun way for me. So that's why it's so low. But yeah, if you like this movie, tell us why. If you don't like this movie and you agree with me, I support you.
I want to talk to you. No.
Right? We'll support you as well. I mean, you're wrong, but we'll support you. No.
Sound off in the comments below. Tell me why I'm wrong and why you guys love this movie, and it's a 90s gem. It really is a 90s gem, so I'll give you guys that. It is an iconic July 4th movie. There's not a lot of them out there, so this is a good one.
There's not a lot of them out there. And yeah, I do watch this every 4th of July or around the holiday. So you're lucky that we got it out of the way now, Nina, because I would have been making you watch it.
Except there's sequels.
Anyway, so let's get this over with.
It does have sequels, and the sequels pale in comparison to this.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Although if they did do a new one, I would be curious to see that, as long as we don't do what Scream did with a 40-year-old Helen. Like Ghost Helen. I don't want that.
No. But I do want Jennifer Love Hewitt in it.
Oh, and
Absolutely.
she said she would
Yes.
want to do it. So
Yes.
yeah, and you should check out that interview. It was really recently. I can't remember what show it was on, but just look up Jennifer Love Hewitt, Ethan.
I certainly will.
And yeah, it was really recent, and she looks great, and she talked all about the character and how she kind of feel about playing her again. So definitely recommend you guys check that out.
I hope it happens.
I know.
Me too. I honestly do, and I don't like this movie, but I hope that they make it better than this one.
Fair enough.
I'm really excited.
Oh my God, why can't I stop? I'm so sorry. I'm going to make myself stop, okay? This is I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997. We are Bloody Essentials. And if you find yourself in a horror movie, remember, don't have sex.
Don't do drugs.
And don't die. We'll see you next week.